Let's talk to another fascinating thing, the Ark of the Covenant. We didn't get around to this in our last interview. Yeah. You are most famous beyond the pyramids for the Ark of the Covenant.
Well, it's what started me on this journey.
Yes. So for those who only know a little bit about it from Raiders of the Lost Ark, in very simple terms, what is the Ark of the Covenant?
The Ark of the Covenant is the box, about 3 feet 9 inches long, 2 feet 3 inches high and wide, made of wood and gold. The outer part is gold, coating a wooden interior, and then the inner part of the box is also gold. And in it are placed the 2 tablets of stone of the 10 Commandments. This is according to the book of Exodus. Moses is summoned to Mount Sinai, creates the tablets of stone, and the Ark of the Covenant is built by a craftsman called Bezalel, who builds this object. And it's a very strange object. It was one of the things that started me thinking, could there be missing episodes in the human story? Because when you read the description of the Ark of the Covenant in the book of Exodus, it's like a blueprint.
How big is it?
3 feet 9 inches long, 2 feet 3 inches high and wide, carried on carrying poles. Every description of it in the Bible has it doing really awesome, terrifying things.
Like what?
Like striking people dead. There's a chap called Uzzah. At one point, the ark has been stolen by the Philistines, but it's caused them so much damage at a city called Ashdod. Interestingly, the Bible itself uses the word cancerous tumors, that the Philistines opened the Ark of the Covenant and they filed past it like some kind of tourist object, and then they all started to die, and they died of cancerous tumors. Well, eventually they decided to send it back to Israel, and they put it on a cart drawn by an ox, and they sent it back towards Israel. And on the journey, the ark apparently, and this is in the Bible, was rocking on the platform. So somebody reached out to stabilize it, and a bolt of fire shoots out from the ark and strikes him dead. There are occasions where it strikes its own bearers dead, where it rises up into the air and rushes towards the enemies of Israel. It's a most intriguing object. And
you believe, because you wrote a book about this called The Sign and the Seal, you believe not only is it real, but you think you know where it is.
Well,
I mean, your argument was...
I was the East Africa correspondent for The Economist. I was regularly traveling to Ethiopia, and I couldn't miss the fact that Ethiopia claims to be the last resting place of the lost Ark of the Covenant.
In Axum in Ethiopia,
in Axum, in
the Church of St. Mary of Zion.
Correct. In the province of Tigray.
And it's guarded by a single monk who's never allowed to leave his chapel.
That's correct.
It's all fascinating,
yeah.
But did you get to see it?
No. Not that.
Does anybody ever see it?
No. I went there even with a crew from CNN back in 1992. They were gung-ho to get in.
Because you remember the story of Geraldo Rivera and Al Capone's vault. Do you remember this? So he was a massive TV star. Still is. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Good friend of mine. But he was a massive TV star in America. Yeah. And he got wind that Al Capone's vault had been discovered. And they decided to do it as a live special.
Yeah.
2 hours. And at the end of the 2 hours, they'd open the vault.
Yeah.
And obviously, he had no idea what was going to be in it. Mm-hmm. And when they opened it, it was completely empty.
Completely empty, yeah.
Could this be the...
yes.
Has anybody seen it?
My case in support of Ethiopia's claim is entirely circumstantial, based on, because I never did get into that chapel, and nobody ever has. Yes, there is one monk who is appointed as the guardian of the ark. Once he is appointed, he can never again leave that chapel.
But if there's only one monk guarding it...
No, there's not. This is the heart of Tigray province. This is the province that led the rebellion against Mengistu Haile Mariam that overthrew the dictatorship of Ethiopia back in 1991. This is an armed camp. The whole place is not... Everybody in Axum camp.
Could it all just be a scam?
No, I don't think it's a scam. I think a scam would mean...
A scam to bring tourists.
A scam would mean that the Ethiopians themselves don't believe this. They do believe this. This is a passionate belief. There is a replica of the Ark of the Covenant or of the Tablets of Stone in every single church in Ethiopia.
Right, but
there's more than 20,000 churches. Take the replica out and it stops being a church. So we have this pre-Christian relic in Christian churches, and it's so important that if the relic or the replica of the relic is removed from the church stops being a church. It's consecrated, yes.
But that still doesn't mean the original is in this
No, it doesn't.
church.
It doesn't. That's why.
Why do you believe so passionately it is?
looked into the matter in great detail. The question is, what happened to the Ark of the Covenant? We know that Jerusalem was invaded by the Babylonians in 587 BC, that they raided the temple, that they took everything out of the temple. They kept detailed lists of everything they took, which they carried off to Babylon. Those lists did not include the Ark of the Covenant. I consulted closely with a number of scholars, particularly Bezalel Porton, in Jerusalem into this issue, and he suggested that the Ark of the Covenant had been taken out of the temple long before the Babylonian invasion. It was taken out during the reign of a monarch called Manasseh. And Manasseh was an apostate. He had abandoned the traditional Judaic faith, and he had adopted the worship of a Canaanite deity called an Asherah. And he had placed an Asherah in the Holy of Holies of the temple. According to Bezalel Porton and other experts, there's no way that those who were loyal to the traditional religion could have allowed the ark to stay in proximity to a pagan relic. This is the time when suddenly in Upper Egypt, on the island of Elephantine, opposite the city of Aswan in the Nile, a Jewish temple is built, 650 BC. It's very puzzling because this was the first temple period. There's not supposed to be any temples outside Jerusalem, but there's no doubt it's been excavated by the German Archaeological Institute. There was a Jewish temple there. It stood there for 200 years. Nobody knows why it was there, but the suggestion is it was put there as a place of refuge for the ark, that the ark was taken there during this period of upheaval in Jerusalem. And then later, 200 years after that, the Jewish population of Elephantina were sacrificing rams, and the Egyptian deity of the island of Elephantina is Khnum, a ram-headed deity. There was an uprising of the Egyptians against them, and they disappear from history. I suggest, and the traditions of the Ethiopian Jews themselves support this, they fled south, they followed the Nile River system, they followed the Blue Nile to its source in Lake Tana. And that is indeed exactly where the ancient Jewish community of Ethiopia still lives to this day, the Falashas, the Beta Israel. They practice a very Old Testament form of Judaism. Put the pieces together and you begin to have rather a strong case.
But many scholars, as you know, if not the majority of scholars, I think it'd be fair to say, believe the ark was likely destroyed, looted, or disappeared during that Babylonian conquest of Jerusalem. Mainstream researchers say there is no solid textual or archaeological evidence that the ark was ever taken out of Jerusalem. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Yeah.
It's absolutely fair. And yet we have this massive, intriguing country in the Horn of Africa.
No, you've got me on it.
Which is totally focused on this matter in a very puzzling way, which has an Old Testament Judaic community as part of the population.
Why won't they ever let anybody go in and look at it?
Because why won't anybody be allowed into the Kaaba in Mecca? Because it's the most sacred place as far as the Ethiopians are concerned.
Is there anyone alive who's ever seen it?
No.
No.
Apart from the guardian of the ark. And the guardian of the ark, and I've met several of them, they all get ill. This is another thing that intrigued me. They get cataracts over their eyes.
Why?
They say the ark caused it. I asked specifically through a translator how...
And they do it till they die?
And why did the ark cause this to you? And he just said, the ark is a thing of fire. And that was the moment when this story really got its hook into me. The absolute honesty with which that person spoke, and the feeling that he was in the presence of some awesome power intrigued me. I'm offering this as an alternative point of view. And I'm backing up, supporting
I get it. I get it.
But I might not be right. The Ethiopians might not be right.
Here's my point about you, which I didn't know what to make of you the first time until I interviewed you. And afterwards I said, it seems completely reasonable to me. I mean, you might not, everything you're saying might be completely wrong, but you don't pretend otherwise. What you're saying is there are a set of circumstances here which, if you interpret it like this, could lead us to this. And there's this fascinating place, heavily guarded, which has all this history. And it could be, logically, that is where the Ark of the Covenant lies.
Yeah, I think it's the best claim. It's the place in the world with the best claim.
I've never watched Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I have.
How accurate is it in the way...
In terms of the awesome powers of the ark, very accurate.
Really?
Yeah, spot on. The biblical description has been honoured correctly in the construction of their model Ark of the Covenant, and the way that it strikes people dead and it's used as a fearsome weapon, that's all over the Bible.
Maybe I should watch it. I might watch it over Christmas.
It's entertaining.
You've got me into all this stuff. You see, I never used to like all this stuff. I'm now into it.
It's fascinating.
You make it so exciting and interesting.
Thank you.
And because I know that I think you're intellectually honest, because you don't try and say to me, well, no, I'm right about this and they're all wrong. You don't say that.
No.
You just say, look, their view is this, and my view is it could be this.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, and I hope that I'm bringing some balance to the picture, which I think has been a very unbalanced picture up till now.
I've got to wrap up soon, but I want to ask you about the Bible. Obviously, incredibly important historical text. How much of the Bible should we treat as being fact, and how much as non-fact?
I think the Bible, excuse me, particularly the Old Testament, is an extremely precious testimony that has come down to us in written form from the ancient world. What's fascinating is how much that's in the Bible is in older texts from ancient Sumer, from Mesopotamia, supposedly the first high civilization. The story of the flood, for example, the flood of Noah, that is prefigured in Mesopotamia with a much older story that speaks of a global flood and of a God warning one individual that the flood is coming and encouraging him to build an ark and to save humankind. There's no doubt that the documentation of the Old Testament draws heavily on ancient Sumerian knowledge and facts. I think that, like any document that comes down to us from the remote past, it has to be taken with a pinch of salt. We have to look at each individual case carefully. But
so some of it can be proven from
yes.
what we believe, but other parts of it are subjective.
Yes, like any ancient document. I think it should be regarded.
And the New Testament?
It should
How do you
be
view the New
regarded
Testament?
as an asset,
Right.
Rather than the truth, the whole truth.
And what about the New Testament?
Look, I'm not a Christian, so
I am.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm curious what you were going to say.
What I see, as far as I understand them, is the teachings of Jesus are teachings of love and teachings of care and support. I see nothing wicked or cruel or unkind in the teachings of Jesus, but I see much that's wicked and cruel and unkind in the Christian church over the course of history.
Do you believe the Christmas story?
No, I don't believe the Christmas story.
You really are a Grinch, aren't you?
I don't believe it's as simple as that. But do I believe that we live in a mysterious universe where a God is a definite possibility? Yes. Yeah,
well, I've always taken a view with that. I mean, I had this argument with Richard Dawkins and others. It's like, it's fine to say, all right, you're an atheist and this all happened, or you subscribe to the Big Bang Theory, whatever, but they can never answer the one question, which makes me certain there must be a superior thing out there, which is, well, what was there before the Big Bang?
Yeah.
What's nothing?
Yeah.
The human brain cannot comprehend nothing or eternity. And because we can't, and no one can explain it, to me, there must be a superior thing to the human brain that's there that can comprehend these impossible questions.
I would go with that. I'm just uncomfortable with the very rigid way that the three monotheistic faiths, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, have created this kind of tribal chieftain that tells us all what to do and who can be extremely cruel. But actually, Piers, you're right. I mean, it's a mystery. It's a mystery to be alive. It's a mystery. Just the fact that you live, the fact that I live, the fact that we can... It's incredible.
Yes.
Consider the possibility of neither of us being here. If our parents had done something different, we wouldn't be here.
And I'm kind of fascinated, as I've got older, and I've lost a lot of people, sadly, at different ages and stuff.
Me too.
And it really, I'm sure inevitably, you start to think more and more, well, what is thereafter? Is it really feasible that we'd have this extraordinary existence and then that's it? I just don't think it is.
I don't think it is either. I do believe that consciousness survives death, and I do think it's also, and it's become clearer to me as I've got older, it's really important what we do with our lives. We do not want to come to that moment of death carrying a burden of guilt and shame and regret at what we've done. When we come to the fulfillment and the end of our lives, we should be able to look back on it and say, yeah, I made some mistakes. I screwed up in this and that, but by and large, I tried to do the right thing.
Yeah. I want to end by reminding you of what you said about my football team last time. I have one question at the end, which is this. Will Arsenal win the Premier League before or after the world ends?
Before.
Thank you. Great to see you. So, Arsenal blew it last season, but we are currently top of both the Premier League in this country and of the European Champions League. So my question now has evolved to, will Arsenal, with all your knowledge of history and all your optimism for the future, will my beloved Arsenal win the Premier League and Champions League this season?
Well, since my eldest son is a huge Arsenal fan, I have got to say yes.
Excellent. I love ending on a positive note. Graham Hancock, it's always great to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Come back again. I love our chats. It's great.
Thank you.